You have to ponder what if. They literally tell you that every episode.
Howard the Duck is killing the game. He's like Derek Jeter in 2000.
And not to be mean, but I fell asleep during this episode.
I actually fully disagree with you, MT, on that.
Ooh.
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the Bounty Board, we are ranking each episode of What If Season 3. So kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
For this episode, I thought, well, I didn't think, this was Brett's idea to do a tier list of all of the episodes for this season.
Our categories are best, great, good, okay, bad. I could have made them more thematic, but I didn't because I'm lazy.
That's so boring, dude.
I mean, they all mean the same thing. We know what you mean.
Let's jump in with episode 1, right? What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers?
I thought this one was okay.
Same. Like, I think that like there was a lot of missed opportunities for like the actual premise. Because like, you know, mechs are super cool, like Pacific Rim, amazing franchise, like, you know, Guillermo del Toro really like, you know, established a sense of scale with the way that he like, you know, he framed all of his shots. Yeah. And like, it just, I just kind of wish that like they were just using their superpower rather than like, you know, being in mechs. Cause like, it's just not very, they didn't do anything interesting with the mechs, I felt.
I agree. And I also, as much as I like a Hulkzilla, I felt like they were like very OP. Like the Apex was super OP. And then the little minion Hulks were also, they looked really cool. I mean, I thought the design of this episode was really, really cool. This is always the thing I struggle with What If is like, it's all one-offs, right? So these are all just like theoreticals. I don't think I need to hold them to this standard of like I got to be blown away by every episode. I wasn't necessarily like at the edge of my seat on this one. I was just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, I think the biggest sin of this episode is it doesn't lean into its own gimmick. Right. And it's a cool concept. I really enjoy the intro where it's more of like a Voltron anime standard 2D animation. And I mean, I'm probably not alone in saying I kind of hate this like 3D animation that What If kind of has in general.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, especially after watching Arcane, like I have a higher bar for like 3D animation. Than, like,
Arcane's like triple the budget, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
But designs for all the Avengers mechs are really cool. I think there's also kind of missing an opportunity with like the roster of the Avengers that they had this episode. I didn't realize that was Nakia until I looked at the cast listing and I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of, I thought it was Shuri. And it's like, that's kind of like a bizarre team. And it like, even when you just look at the mechs, that second Avengers lineup, they're all kind of just like soldiers and like martial artists. And like none of the mechs have any like real cool powers or anything that makes them individual. And like the thing with like Voltron or like Power Rangers is like when they come together at the end and they bring all their powers together at the end to make that Megazord, it's supposed to be really cool because you have one mech that can do all these special abilities. But really, the only special ability we saw was like the 10 rings kind of like shoot out a little bit.
Right.
It did feel like overall, What If exists to remind people that Simu Liu is in the MCU. Like, definitely Riri Williams.
I love him, and I think he's great.
Me too. But yeah,
I'm not saying you're arguing with me. I'm backing up what you're saying.
I too was agreeing with myself through you in a way, a three-dimensional agree.
I do think that this season suffers overall from like really trying to push a lot of the newer characters that we haven't seen, especially because of delays due to COVID and strikes. And like, it does kind of feel like if we had more OG Avengers or characters that people actually like connected with, it would do better.
100%. Like the fact that Tony Stark was not in the mech episode, I'm like, he was sort of in the beginning, but like it would have been really great to see him sort of like do his thing like, with like the OG Avengers or I don't know. I feel like the characters that they picked were super random.
Yeah.
Like Moon Knight in a mech, like I don't really see that being a thing. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit his theme, you know? Like, he's just more of like a street level, like type of a Avenger type dude. And like, it just felt out of place. I don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously it is What If. So like, you know, you sort of have to like let it go. But like,
you have to ponder what if. That's the whole
thing. You have to ponder.
They literally tell you that every episode. That's what you're supposed to do. I found this episode to be pretty middle of the road. I didn't dislike it. I liked it. I always find the Hulk to be the most relatable character in the MCU to me. And this episode was no different. I also have BPD, and I have also gone on a boat with my friends and coworkers and absolutely ruined the vibe. That is something I can totally relate to. When I'm having a meltdown, I call that version of myself Hulk Whitney. And so this episode was basically just hitting really close to home emotionally, and then not really hitting it for me with the whole use of the mechs situation.
Right.
I do think what they did with the Hulk was interesting. I think him gamma bombing himself to turn him into a kaiju was a cool moment. So I will give them points for that.
I definitely feel like if I was a kid, I would have really enjoyed this episode because, like, you know, it's. I feel like it was made to sell those action figures of the mechs. At some point.
Oh yeah.
It's because like it just felt like a very, you know, kid centric episode, which is totally fine. But like I just felt like the writing wasn't there, and like it felt like it was sort of a waste of Anthony Mackie and Teyonah Parris in an episode together because like. That's a great combo. Like I would have loved them see them team up without the mechs, like doing something completely different. But like, you know, it is what it is. Like I'm not it was a fine episode. Where do we want to put it on the list though?
So I think it's okay veering into bad just because it's one of the best like concepts of what ifs, but it like completely misses the mark.
I also think it's okay. I would put it as okay.
Yeah, I would say okay, it's good, yeah.
I'm also going with A-okay, baby.
Okay, it is.
Okay. Going
into the yellow. All right. So episode 2 was the Kingo Agatha episode. It was, you know, Agatha is so, what do you mean Agatha? The actress, what's her name again? Oh my God.
Catherine Hahn.
She's a great voiceover actress. Like she's probably like the best, in my opinion, this season of like all the live action actors who came to do this. Like her acting was just like superb. She can do no wrong, in my opinion.
I loved this episode so much. This was definitely one of my favorites of the whole season. First and foremost, because fresh out the gate, right in the beginning, Kumail Nanjiani finally gets to show his full abs. And yes, it's an animated property. And yes, he still didn't need to get that ripped, it turns out. But oh my God, I felt so much justice when the Kingo poster was revealed and it was full frontal abs, baby. It was all of it. And I was like, yes, finally, this is what we thought we were getting with Kingo. This is what Kumail thought we were getting with Kingo. So I'm just like, hell yes. I'm so happy for our baby boy. Even if it's the animated version of his abs, I feel like he finally got the recognition he deserves for getting so ripped for the Eternals. He got so ripped and he had nothing to show for it. They didn't even put his rippedness in the movie. You only saw his like very toned arms, but you didn't see abs. So yeah, sorry that I'm making this into a 5-minute segment on Kingo's abs, but long story short, good. Loved it.
Comedian gets hot, finally pays off.
In animated form.
I thought this was a really strong episode. I think it had the strongest voice cast. Just the chemistry between Kingo and Agatha alone makes this a top tier episode. I thought the fight scenes were really fun. I thought the Bollywood homage dance scene back and forth between Catherine Hahn and Kumail was really great. And I like the idea that Howard Stark is almost a more ridiculous character than Tony Stark. Like, you know, I like more we get to see of him. Just a man whose wealth and intelligence makes him believe he can do anything. Like he's like, yes, I'm a director, I'm a mogul, I'm out of the war business, now I'm into the feature film business. And the fact that he knows the whole time that he's hired these like super powered beings, but like doesn't care. I thought that worked really well in animation. I thought that might have been a harder sell in live action. So this was just one of the stronger episodes to me.
I definitely thought it was one of the stronger ones too. The only thing I'm going to disagree with you a little on is the dance battle scene was cool and the concept was really cool. I wanted more from it because I guess that I felt like the animation was a little stiff.
It was uncanny. It was because it was just the same model, like copy and pasted a zillion times, and they were all moving robotically in the same time. It was very uncanny.
Yeah, I think it could have been animated with a little more flow, a little more love. And the thing that I wanted to see the most is I felt like it was kind of implied a little bit that like the dance moves were also their powers, because this was like the moment when they were like first talking and like negotiating, and she's trying to trick him and he's trying to get a better deal. And like, I wanted them to kind of lean more into that. Like it's a cartoon, man. Make it cool,
Right.
make it crazy, make the moves mean something. Like I wanted a little bit more out of that scene. However, the thing that I did love about any scene where Kumail and Agatha were talking is that if you close your eyes while you're watching it and you don't look at who's talking, it sounds like Prismo from Adventure Time is having a conversation with Agatha Harkness, and it's really cool. I was just having a great time. I was closing my eyes and I was like, this is Prismo.
I kind of want to see that now. That'd be hilarious.
Bring Prismo in the MCU cowards.
Yeah, and like I thought this episode was also great. I also wish that they did more with that like dance sequence. Like it would have been cool to like get more like action out of that. But like overall, like I really enjoyed the fact that like the Eternals knew about Agatha, because like she was a big threat enough for the Eternals to be like, all right, this woman's on our radar, but we can't really do anything because she's not a deviant, which is so weird. You know, I feel like they were somewhat fearful of her because like she can absorb energy and like she's this, you know, living black hole of a person. And like, you know, what was great about this episode is that like it confirmed that like magic and cosmic energy are the same thing in the MCU, which is like, you know, pretty huge. And like it also ties into like what Agatha did, basically what's the Dweller in Darkness was trying to do in Shang-Chi. She was just trying to suck up all the energy that she can find to become a higher being. And we saw that. And then we saw her fight with Erisham, which was very cool.
That was cool. That was the coolest. I loved it. I loved this episode.
Yeah.
Like to see like, you know, a celestial fight for the first time is like, you know, a pretty big deal in the MCU history.
And they just go fisticuffs with it.
I know, just like, super weird. Like that fight should have been like as big as the finale fight, in my opinion, because like that should have been like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it was so fun.
Have been a world ender. Instead, the only thing that got destroyed was the Griffith Observatory in Los Feliz. That was the only real casualty of this episode.
True. But like I thought the episode was like it was a fun episode. Yeah. Definitely like one of the more entertaining ones of the season. But like it was all right.
I am kind of in agreement with you guys. I had a lot of issues with the episode, but I think overall it was one of the better ones of the season. Of the things that I liked, I really loved the return of James D'Arcy from Agent Carter as Jarvis. As a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter fan, it was really nice to see not only this episode, but this whole season kind of like bring in more ABC era Marvel into it. Jarvis's "that house makes you question the decency of capitalism" is such a good line.
That's a pretty good one.
And like, I also love that it's building off of season 2 of Agent Carter. Like Howard Stark does run a movie studio, and like it's very cool to see them sort of like pull from that side of the lore. In terms of like negatives, I think the dance sequence was too long for how stiff it was. I think it would have been better if it was a lot tighter and maybe it was just Agatha and Kingo. I really love the pairing of these two old characters meeting at a time that we aren't really thinking about. I think that's a very cool concept. I do kind of feel like Agatha wasn't Agatha at the very end. Like when Kingo's like, "Hey, Agatha, it gives his best like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, I was going to say, he just basically does Nicole Kidman's AMC ad for Agatha. And it she's works. Like, you know what? You're right. And movies do feel powerful and perfect because here they are. Like that's literally, that was Kingo's message to her, and she got it, you know, loud and clear. I think that the Nicole Kidmanification of Kingo and Agatha is something to be studied and celebrated.
I think overall it was kind of out of character for Agatha, but the episode itself was really cool. And I think Celestial Agatha was like a great design. Yeah. I personally am saying this belongs in the great tier.
I agree.
I agree.
So now we're in episode 3, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
What if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier?
I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really fun.
I loved it. I thought it was so fun. I am obsessed with Alexi and Bucky on a road trip together, baby. And Alexi is just full communist, just full up in that communist manifesto. Every place he can, right and left, red and blue, only red. What am I saying? He's a commie. I just loved it. I thought it was so fun.
I agree. Comedies are my favorite genre. This was a great buddy comedy with some action elements mixed in. I am a little unclear on what Bucky's life was like as he was Winter Soldierized before he was mentally freed in Captain America Civil War, because he's like kind of a quippy, cool dude in this episode. And I guess in my head, I always had him basically as like a cold Ivan Drago Russian asset. And then to have him kind of be like, pithy back and forth with Red Guardian, I was like, oh, so there's like a 70s Winter Soldier series to be had of like him having lucid thoughts, before he gets, resummoned back by Hydra or whatever, or by the Russians. So I loved this episode in terms of what the episode was, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. I guess I pictured like Winter Soldier always being kind of soulless before he was returned back to, James Bucky Barnes.
I think you're right. And I think that kind of speaks to a problem that the series has overall, which is tone. I think it is trying to kind of serve two audiences. It's trying to be like a very fun family children's show almost with like adult action at times. It doesn't necessarily work. And I think that's a lot of people's problems with this season and this series overall. And I think that's exactly why, right? Where it's like, yeah, I mean, the Winter Soldier is supposed to be kind of like this stoic, mindless killing machine. And yeah, he's making these Tony Stark quips all the time. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. And also like, I mean, I don't know, maybe he was a stoic guy, but then he was changed by the power and the magic of a buddy comedy road trip. And maybe that's why he's a cool guy now. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But maybe not murdering Howard Stark just made him a chiller dude.
No, I think that is the implication of this, like the overall implication of this episode is that, like, in the MCU, like, Bucky became less controlled when he realized that, like, yeah, like I am Steve's friend, like I have this friendship connection, and so like that sort of like helped overwrite his programming. In this episode, like he sort of like he becomes friends with the Red Guardian, so like his connection with the Red Guardian helped him like fight back against his programming. I do like that, but like I feel like the implementation of that in this episode felt super quick because it's like a quick 30-minute episode, and so like it felt unearned in a weird way, but like I sort of get what they're going for, like for sure. Like what Whitney was saying, it's like the power of friendship, the power of like, being buddies can, help you overcome past trauma.
It's the power of just guys being dudes, just dudes being boys, just boys.
Saturdays are for the boys.
Saturdays are for the boys.
Exactly.
And that's proven in this.
Capitalism is for the boys.
Communism is for the boys.
Speaking of which, the Obadiah Stane reveal, so much fun. Getting to see more of him beyond just I hate Tony Stark, and we get to see him be this sort of like real capitalist pig is fucking cool. And I think he was the perfect villain to put against the Red Guardian, especially since the Red Guardian is going full commie this episode. And that's really fun too. I think David Harbour hammed it up, and I really enjoyed his humor.
Yeah, I think he's great in that role. I think in like future MCU projects, it'll be good. Like that's a good character to add levity to things, like because it's like he is still this giant imposing dude, even though he's a little out of shape. But like, I made me more excited for Thunderbolts for sure. I am already excited for Thunderbolts, but it definitely made me look forward to his live action portrayals more.
Yeah, I think Golden Retriever Red Guardian is what works for Red Guardian, and I want to see more of it.
Like, I find it really interesting that they even released this episode so close to Thunderbolts, because like we're gonna see, like, you would think that like Thunderbolts would be like when we would see those two characters team up for the first time and like their interactions, but like now we sort of have like an appetizer for that.
Was this episode supposed to come out after Thunderbolts? When was Thunderbolts originally supposed to release?
That's a good question.
Did he get pushed back?
July of 2018. No, I'm just,
a lot of these projects seem that way, Tommy.
That's how it feels. That's how long it feels like since I've seen Simu Liu in the MCU.
Yeah, it did. It was like a little bit like, oh, right. That guy.
It says here July 26, 2024. So like, yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be out 6 months ago.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of the problems with this season come up. And like, we'll see it later on with like the Riri episode too, right? It's like
And the cowboy episode.
We are supposed to care about the characters that are being featured way more, but because we haven't seen their actual stories in our MCU unfold, it's hard for us to get invested.
Yes. So overall, I mean, I'm going to be on the higher end of ranking this episode. I thought it was great. I really liked it.
Okay. You thought it was great?
I'll also say great.
I'm going to go with good. I really enjoyed it. But great is reserved for the two that I believe are great. So this one's a good for me.
We do have a best category as well, Whitney, just so you are aware.
Oh, we do? Oh, shit. Fuck. This is the worst rating system. Well, there's too many. There's too many things. We gotta make it easier.
You know, some of them are just A, B, C, D, and E. So I think Brett went above and beyond here. I think it's a great rating system.
I tried to make them more accessible for Whitney for this exact reason.
And it came back to bite you.
Yeah.
Someone's sleeping on the couch tonight. Marital humor.
What are you saying? You know we have a comfy ass guest bed. You've slept in it.
That's true. I have.
Yeah, I also thought it was good as well. It's on the lower side of good for me. If you guys want to outvote me and put it into great, I'm cool with that.
I'm comfortable with good. I think I liked it as great, but that's on the that passes the Bechtold test, which is when a communist and a capitalist talk about things other than finance.
Before we move on, though, I do think it's interesting that they cast America Ferrera for just a random cop. And a lot of people are speculating that because her last name was Morales, that like she's Rio or related to Rio in some way. I don't know if I buy that, but it is interesting that she was cast for such a non-role.
Interesting.
Are there any mistakes in Kevin Feige's MCU?
I mean, maybe we'll see I don't know, maybe you'll see a reference in the new Spider-Man show. I don't know. Who knows? But that is very interesting. But yeah, I'm cool with good.
So we're going to move into episode 4, but Tommy, do you want to do a fake ad?
We want to thank today's sponsor, Nerf Foam Scooters. It's Nerf or nothing for me when it comes to travel. Holidays can be stressful. Getting home for the holidays, seeing your family, and maybe you need to make a quick exit. And that's why we want to thank Nerf Foam Scooters today for creating a scooter that not only doesn't drive, but also is impossible to stay on because it's made out of foam. But what it will do is critically injure your ankles and wrists, sending you to the emergency room for a much needed 6 to 8 week vacation from responsibilities like lifting heavy things, petting cats, finger banging.
Hold on. Isn't the benefit of a Nerf scooter that it doesn't hit the back of your ankles and cause permanent damage?
Oh yeah, the product's bad, but you should buy it.
Okay, well, all right. I guess I have questions about our product.
Well, I wasn't expecting this pushback, but yes. Listen, the Nerf foam scooter is a complicated device, and that's why Wired Magazine put it on 500 items to just scroll past when you see it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it, because for each Nerf foam scooter that is sold, when you use our link, Guardians of the Palaxy, please buy the scooter. I'm begging you. They have my family. Nerf has my family. They're not letting my family out. I think they're going to kill them. They just mailed a piece of my son's pinky to me. 50. We will get a little bit of money. That will go a long way.
And guess what? When you call now, you can
call our landline.
Yeah, when you call our landline, after you go to our website, after you send us the money, you can call our landline right now, and we will send you a helmet that doesn't work for free.
And ironically, it's not made of Nerf.
It's not made of Nerf at all.
It's made of concrete, and it's crumbling.
It's made of concrete. It actually
leaches your vitamins out of your head. Enter Valhalla this New Year's on your Nerf foam scooter and concrete helmet.
Enter Valhalla on your new Nerf scooter.
Nerf foam scooters. At least it's not honey.
That's right.
Yo, honey, like, bro, that shit was straight up a scam, bro.
Honey.
And with that, let's talk about.
Did you work with Kanye?
I did. I was the voice for Bound Part 2. I was on the bike with Kanye as Kim's stunt double. But I walked away due to excessive thrusting. All right, let's go to episode 4.
And with that, let's check out what if Howard the Duck got hitched. What do you guys think?
Speaking of excessive
Speaking of excessive thrusting. Oh my God, nice.
Oh!
Can I ask who laid the egg? Is that an appropriate question to ask? I don't.
Darcy
Oh my
apparently
God.
did. She said she was in labor. Her puss must be wrecked. There is no
Blown
way
out.
that bitch did not need
That's
an
a blowout.
epiphany.
No,
Dude,
it came out really
Yeah.
small and they put it in water.
It expanded.
Like a magic dinosaur?
Like a
little
magic
bells?
dinosaur. Yeah.
Logistics of the birth aside, this episode I liked a lot. I thought it was really fun. I definitely thought the Loki reveal was great. I enjoyed having Tom Hiddleston back as Loki, and I hope that's not the last time.
yeah.
Oh yeah, like those, like Howard and Darcy. I would have never thought like that would be the couple that like I would ship, but like I really like them together.
I
Mhm.
Like they just work, and like I kind of want them to have their own separate series, like a spin-off series of this, like just like an animated show. Like I would love that. I don't know if you guys have ever read the comic Saga.
Yeah.
But like
Yes.
this episode,
Yeah.
was
Saga's
just
one of my
Saga.
favorite comics. Yeah.
I love Saga so
Yeah.
much, and this was just Saga, but like goofy and Marvel.
Yeah.
Mm.
And because it took place in the Party Thor universe, I was like, all right, so like this is just gonna be goofy. Like I don't have to take this just super like seriously or like as a scenario.
Yeah.
And like it worked. And like I really love the introduction of Birdie. I feel like she has like, I don't know, like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque vibes. Like I
Mhm.
would love to see her like on the Starjammers in the future, maybe, or
Mhm.
like maybe just on the X-Men in general. Like I just think this is really cool.
Like on that note, I think this episode in general kind of like the reason why it works is because it's channeling the energy of Guardians of the Galaxy and also
Mhm.
Thor
Right.
Ragnarok. And
Yeah,
it's no
exactly.
surprise to me that like most of the supporting cast is characters from those movies.
Mhm.
Mm.
I think this is my favorite episode. It was so much fun. I loved that, like Guardians, like the power of music was also like super
Mhm.
important to this. Like, who knew
Right.
that the Knights in Satan's service would play such a role in the birth
Yep.
of a new Messiah named Birdie?
Yes.
It really
I-
is straight out of a James Gunn movie.
No, it really is. It felt like a
100%.
little mini James Gunn, and it was great. I thought it was so fun. I think it's hilarious that they brought back Malekith for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Zeus.
sport.
Zeus was there. There was a guy who looked like he had
Yeah,
to do a
Zeus
Russell
was
Crowe
there.
impersonation.
Yes.
Until he had to leave to go to an orgy. What? I was
I was like, who is this show for?
Who is this
Honestly,
show
like,
for?
oh, Jesus Christ.
It's for me. It's for me, and I'll tell you why. Because canonically, Howard the Duck has now banged Leah Thompson and Kat Dennings, and I have to say, Howard the Duck is killing the game. He's like
Oh.
Derek Jeter in 2000, banging Mariah
my
Carey
God.
and Minka Kelly in the same year.
he's like fucking Adam Duritz in the 90s, the lead singer of Counting Crows. I Googled a list of women that man with his white person dreadlocks dated. Holy shit, he's dated every hot woman. He dated fucking Courtney Cox for a while.
Yeah.
He also dated Jennifer Aniston. He got with both of the friends. Wow.
Mhm.
Damn.
Shots fired at Lisa Kudrow. But this was my favorite episode. I actually watched this episode with my mom, which was hilarious because she had no idea what was going on, but she was entertained. Also, the kid who does the Jeff Goldblum impersonation, Matthew Friend, is phenomenal.
Yes. Oh my
He was
God.
made to voice match outrageous characters for animation because, like, you want a Goldblum performance, and Jeff Goldblum probably wouldn't have wanted to do that. And this dude's like, no problem. I will do the most Jeff Goldblum impression ever, which he also did on The Simpsons. And I thought he did a really nice job with that.
I also want to shout out Nick Fury and his Fury Out,
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed. I was like, why can't he just do this like the actual live action MCU? It's like Fury Out.
Having Sam Jackson be like, Mr. and Mrs. the Duck.
Yes.
It's such a good line read.
This one was the one I wish was in live action. Like that, definitely. Like this would have been so fun to be in live action.
Oh, it
worked,
would have been.
but it still worked. So I'm gonna vote this as my best episode.
Same. This one's great.
Yeah, I would say best.
Oh shit. Okay, it's not my best. I will put it in best because I'm getting outvoted.
I'm going best.
But that's okay.
Would you say great?
I would say great. I would say this is an episode that sort of achieves the wackiness that What If is supposed to be.
Yes. Because that's, I was trying to like contextualize it to my mom, like what if is. And I'm like, and to her, it's so silly because she's like, well, isn't like Marvel all one big what if? Like, what if people had superpowers? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, get out of here. Go watch 60 minutes. You don't understand my
She's
art.
not wrong, though. She's
You
not
don't understand
wrong.
my art, Mom. But no, she was 100% right. But it's just when a layman, when a civilian breaks it down so simply and clearly.
Civilian. Like we're all like registered to watch comic book movies.
Yeah, bro. I went to the Clone Wars in theaters 3 times. Okay, I've earned the right to talk about this online.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
A civilian.
Yeah. So when a civilian talks about this,
When she was able to dissect the MCU so perfectly and like the whole like conceit of Marvel movies, and I was like, God damn it. I guess I'll still live with you till I'm 42. Anyway, I'd love to quickly move on.
all right, it's going in best.
Next episode is the Riri Williams episode.
What if the emergence destroyed Earth?
This was so weird. This was like a weird fever dream ass of an episode to me. Because I'm just like, what is happening? Like, this all seems like out of left field. And I feel like it was a weird use of Riri Williams and Mysterio.
Mhm.
Like I would have loved to see Mysterio in a different scenario because his powers are so cool. But like, I just didn't buy anything that happened in this episode.
It felt a little bit like the South Park episode where they tear apart Family Guy and they say the manatee just picks like references. Like they were like, we want to use Quentin Beck. We want to use Riri Williams. Let's get White Vision involved, but not cast Paul Bettany. So White Vision will never talk.
Felt like really weird, and I don't know.
Yeah, this was I think my least favorite episode.
Yeah, it was my least favorite too.
It was also my least favorite, but what's interesting is a lot of the internet, when I was doing my research, love this episode. A lot of people think this is the best episode of the season.
Really?
They're wrong.
I think they are wrong. But it just goes to show that like everyone's looking for something a little bit different out of this series.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I'm a trash boy day one, so I not a trash bag. That's for another channel.
I will say what works about this episode, and I think what those people latched onto, is the world building is kind of interesting. But to me, the fractured, splintered Earth, it should be an Eternal story. Like if the premise is what if the
100%.
emergence destroyed the Earth, I want to see the Eternals deal with that. I don't want to see Riri Williams deal with that. I was watching Nando versus Movies, and he was talking about the episode. If you just take a look at the episode, remove the emergence from it. It is sort of about Tony Stark's successors dealing with each other because it's Riri versus Mysterio. And that's a really interesting concept. I mean, we kind of saw it in Far From Home, but all of the supporting cast is just random characters. And if the cast was more of like Happy Hogan and Pepper instead of Ying Nan, like have characters that actually deal with that sort of side of the universe, it might have been a little bit more interesting. It just kind of felt like it was just throwing spaghetti at the wall to me. I think it kind of got boring. It wasn't for me.
No, like 100%. This should have been a Tony Stark centric, like an Iron Man type of tale. And like, it just sort of just felt like, hey, because this is what if, like we have to throw like as many different characters that like are unrelated to like this storyline or this plot line into it, and like not put the Eternals in it whatsoever, not talk about what happens after the emergence. Like, where did Tiamat go? And not to be mean, but I fell asleep during this episode and I had to like rewind and watch the parts that I missed again. Because it was just like, what's happening? Like it felt like a really unfortunate use of Riri Williams because like she's about to have her own show and like she's fresh off of Black Panther 2. So it's just like I kind of wish that we got to see her shine in a less dramatic scenario. Like I would love to see like a more like localized story with Riri and like in a different what if scenario. But like I don't know, it's not my favorite. I would say this is like bad. I wouldn't say bad. Okay. I would say okay.
I would say bad. I would say
bad.
I'd
say bad. I don't like
say
bad.
I think it's just okay. I'm not willing to put it in the bad category.
I think there were some great things, but like it's just I don't know. Bad is just like really
okay,
like a strong word to me.
It is me too, but I'm still going with bad because it was the one that I rated the lowest out of all of them.
True.
So that's why.
Well, we don't have to fill every category, guys. We don't.
I'm cool with bad. I'm cool with bad if we say bad.
I think you all are slaves to the woke mind virus, and I'm gonna red pill you all with this next episode.
Some positive things about this episode for me. I think the Riri phasing through Beck and nabbing his nanotech is a really cool moment. It was one of the only moments that the episode worked for me. Dominique Thorne is good. I wish we had seen Ironheart before this episode came out. I feel like a lot of her character is kind of dragged down by the fact that she's constantly referencing her backstory and how hard she had it. And we have not seen her backstory.
Right.
Yeah. I also just think that like, if you're going to do an episode on the emergence, I want to like see the emergence happen. So when it was like, what if the world got destroyed by the emergence? That was such like a misleading title. Cause I was like, I didn't even get to see the baby. Where's the big bald baby? Where's my friend?
Where's the big baby?
Show me the baby. I'm just Werner Herzog in The Mandalorian. I want to see the baby.
I would like to see the baby.
Show me the child.
Do you think he just crawled away in that little zoomy that Airshim did? But instead of doing like, boom, he was just like a baby crawling.
Like speed cross.
Yeah.
I think that now. I didn't think that before you just said it, but now I do.
Now that's exactly what happened. That's canon.
I dare to ask the question, what if?
All right, so episode 6 is the Shang-Chi cowboy episode of what year is it?
1872. What if 1872?
1870. A great year to be black, I'll tell you what. Where we were totally just completely fine and unshackled in America. It was great.
That was 7 years post racism ending, right?
Oh yeah. That was right after racism,
no racism
ended.
Since.
Yeah. The episode didn't deal with racism at all either.
Yeah, they avoided it with one very key tactic: not having a single black person in it.
Yep.
Well, one of the things I actually did like about this episode was that they sort of acknowledged that like a lot of the West was built by Chinese migrants who built all of these railroads. And I think that was really cool. Sorry to be like, actually, really cool. No, they did address racism.
No. Like they did, like the whole episode was very like about like race in general.
Yeah.
But thank God Haley Steinfeld is there because
yes.
Otherwise 1872 sucked.
So my thought is that they basically took the reveal from the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi and turned it into a what if episode because it's like, oh, his sister's bad. But we already knew that because she takes over for the gang in Shang-Chi. At the end of the movie, she sits on the throne or the boss chair or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. I thought this episode was just fine. I didn't really, I don't mean to be like middle of the road on it, but it was a middle of the road episode to me. Walton Goggins is great. I'm glad he came back and played Sonny Birch.
Oh my God.
I'm obsessed with him. I thought he was so great as the villain. This is actually one of my favorite episodes because I thought that the action sequences were so well done. They were so well animated. I loved the Wild West. I loved like the whole, train situation. I thought that it was just like a really beautifully animated episode. And I thought that like Simu and Haley just killed it, just absolutely knocked it out of the park. I thought that their acting was just so stellar and like their chemistry was just incredible. Like I actually want to see them like do a team up now. Like I want to see that shit in live action.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
You know what? Let's just keep simping over Haley Steinfeld.
Not while MT's here. Come on.
No.
The other thing I was thinking about is like, we're like, oh, Shang-Chi, we really haven't seen his character in forever. Simu Liu's like 35 years old. Like he's fine. They could put him on the back burner and bring him out in a year or two. But I would say sooner the better for both him and Riri Williams' characters, just because
absolutely
we love Marvel and we're still kind of like, what is this person about? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's one of the most charismatic characters currently in the roster. This episode, to me, I agree with Whitney. This is my favorite episode of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the action was fantastic, super fluid. Yeah, it kind of like repeats story beats, but also like Westerns and also like Kung Fu movies share a lot of these like same tropes. So it kind of just fit right in with the genre that it was going for. And I didn't have a problem with it mirroring or rhyming with the MCU proper. I actually really, really enjoyed that. And I'm excited to see Shang-Chi 2 whenever that gets scheduled, because I think that's my most anticipated movie, because I think it's one of my favorite Phase 4s.
Yeah.
Same. It's also one of my favorite Phase 4s for sure. I think that it's like one of my most rewatched ones, because I'll just put that shit on in the background because it's fun. It's just a good fucking movie. The bus
practical
scene.
Action rules.
If another video that we should do is ranking all of the Marvel bus accidents. That should actually be our next tier list video. But it is my favorite Marvel bus fuck up scene. I love it so much. He fucks up that bus. It's amazing. Oh God, I love me a good Marvel bus scene, but nobody does a Marvel bus scene like Shang-Chi. Not know how.
One of my major complaints about this episode, and like, this is just, just a delay thing. It's just that like, it was the first appearance of the Hood as like as an object, a magical object in the MCU. And like, this episode would have greatly served if this came after Ironheart, because like, that's when we're supposed to get the introduction of the Hood and like how Anthony Ramos sort of like deals with what it means to be, possessed by the Hood. I mean, it was cool to see like the powers and all that stuff, but like, I feel like people don't really understand like what the Hood is and like how awesome it is and like how much power it can give you through just this episode alone. And so like, I kind of wish that like, it came after Ironheart, but like, it is what it is.
I actually fully disagree with you, MT, on that. I think this is one of the only instances in this season where the delays didn't really affect my enjoyment of a character that was supposed to be introduced or expanded on. Because I think one, a lot of the Hood's backstory is kind of just like this ominous ghost in this world, right? And we don't really know what it's about. And I like that. I like being left with this sort of like mystery and this tease of what we're going to see in the live action. And because it's not actually Anthony Ramos's character and it's another character donning the Hood, I'm excited to see more of the Hood. I think it worked for me.
Worked for you?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm putting it in the okay category.
I'm putting it in best.
I have it in best.
Well, Whitney, you already voted best, so you can't. Sorry.
No, I can't. I can do it twice. That's how, because you guys are all my best friends. I have like 3 best friends, so I can have at least 3 best episodes.
I would also say okay. I would say okay with Tommy.
Okay, so it's going to fall to great. Also, there's an Iron Fist reference.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I was really hoping that they would reference Iron Fist in this.
There's also Agent Carter references. I don't know. I think it achieved what I want What If to achieve. It's going into great.
He has Iron Fist colors on. He's biased.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. That's Danny
He's
Rand.
got the green and the yellow.
My God, that's Danny Rand.
Oh wow.
All right.
You're looking right at him.
Look, I want to talk about the 2-part finale, but we actually were lucky enough to have 2 sponsors today, so we need to thank our second sponsor.
Oh God, we do.
We got pocket
Uh-oh.
calendars.
That sounds like a real thing.
That's a real thing.
If you need a calendar and you're sick of looking at these gaudy 10 by 12 calendars on walls, so ostentatious, shrink it down to the size of a Post-it note and put it in your damn pocket, you loser. Let's face it, you don't have anything to do. Your calendars are as barren as my womb. 2025 is going to be a snooze fest for you, so why not keep a calendar in your pocket instead of your desk? Use your desk for action figures like a goddamn American.
That's right. This is a tiny, tiny calendar where you have to write all of your dates extremely small because it has to fit in your pocket. You have to decipher your own handwriting to see when your doctor's appointment is coming up in 6 months. It's a beautiful product. Tommy, what did you use yours for?
This is so funny. I eat mine because mine is a pocket Marie calendars. Mine is a pocket Marie calendars. It's a little chicken pot pie that I write my doctor's appointments on, and then I eat them so I don't have to go.
That's perfect. I fucking love Marie Callender's chicken pot pies. I will microwave myself one of those right after this.
If you've ever wanted to feel like what it feels like to burn alive from the inside, cook a Marie Callender's chicken pot pie, put it in your pocket for 30 seconds, and then shove a handful of it in your mouth.
Take a little pot pie, put it in your pocket, never let it fade away.
Never let it fade away. Well, we want to thank Pocket Calendars, and we also want to thank Nerf scooters for foam scooters for sponsoring today's episode. Before we go, we've got a two-part finale to What If that answered several what ifs, including the titular episode of this season finale, which is What If, What If?
What if? What if?
First, we got What If the Watcher Disappeared? Introducing Storm and Birdie.
And Bobblehead Court, which is where you get taken when you stop watching. Okay, can I just say that this made me laugh so much was what the first time he gets in trouble and the Watchers are like, oh man, that guy is not watching. He's interfering. What should we do? We have to watch him harder. And it happens again. And then the next time they're just like, well, shit, man, we gotta keep watching. And then they finally take him to Bobblehead Court. I just think it's so fucking funny that even in their justice system is, well, shit, we can't go get him because then that would be us interfering.
Yeah, then we're not just watching. Look, I spent 5 years working in a cuckold dungeon, and I know the importance of people just watching. And I know what happens when people who are just supposed to be watching interfere, and it's never good. So I empathize with the other watchers today, and I think Uatu was out of line. Also, when he finally said, I am, I wanted to go, somebody needs to edit that in as soon as possible.
Oh my God.
Down with the watchness.
That would make an amazing Vine in 2015.
If we could go back to when Vine was a thing. What about Periscope? Is Periscope still around? No,
I still use my Periscope every day religiously.
You live in a submarine. Listen, I like Storm being in this episode. Storm Thor is a really cool kind of blended character.
Storm.
The character of Birdie is very interesting and neat. It would be really shocking for me if that's the character she plays in Fantastic Four. Because
I don't think it will be.
But it would be really funny too if they're like,
it would be.
You had to watch What If season 2 or season 3 episodes 7 and 8 to understand why Natasha Lyonne has feathers in this. Why her dad's a duck.
Feathers in a Haley Williams hair color from 2004.
She's got a wolf cut.
She looks great. She looks amazing. I got really excited because somebody on Twitter. At Kyle_Carter89 told me that Birdie reminded him of me. And that is the highest compliment that I've ever received in my life. I thought that she fucking crushed this episode. She did so good. It obviously sounded like her. She has a very unmistakable voice, but I also do love what she did with the character voice that she decided to use. I thought it was really interesting. She kind of gave her a little bit of a situation when she talks, and I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought she makes some fun mouth sounds.
I like how the way you said that. She made some fun mouth. I can say that to people. Wow, you made some really fun mouth sounds.
Hey girl, I like your mouth sounds.
Hey girl, I like those mouth sounds.
You make pretty mouth sounds.
But no, her voice to me sounds a lot like Helen Parr from The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but every time I was listening, I was just like, oh my God, is that Helen Parr flying around the spaceship? This is very funny. Yeah, no, she did great this episode. I enjoyed her character. And I really want her to be involved in the X-Men or something. If the universes end up merging together after Secret Wars and we see characters from What If actually be integrated into the MCU proper, I would love to see her just hanging around the X-Mansion. Yeah, no, this episode was with the Watcher going missing. I like how they immediately assumed something was terribly wrong, from the jump. It's oh yeah, we found these shards. It could be any reason, but let's just assume that the Watcher is in trouble and spend all this time trying to shatter reality and enter the fifth dimension, which felt very the Ultimates. I don't know if you guys have ever read the Ultimates comics, but like I got like hardcore Ultimates vibes because like they went from one dimension to the other using technology. So like, do you guys know the Ultimates?
I know Marvel Ultimate Universe. I don't know the Ultimates.
Oh my god, the Ultimates are like one of the best teams in Marvel Comics. So like it's like Black Panther, Monica Rambeau, America Chavez, Captain Marvel. They solve like cosmic level problems, and so like they'll like travel to different like dimensions, and like it's like they're the real deal. Like whenever Marvel gets the Ultimates, like it's gonna be like incredible. And so like this episode felt very like, you know, very much like that. And like I love when we like break past like different levels of like reality in Marvel, because like we get to see how vast the actual universe is, and like we see more of like the laws of the universe. So like it's cool to know that like the Watchers themselves exist on like a completely different plane of existence, like officially. Like we do that like in earlier seasons, but like knowing that like it's like the fifth dimension, it's like, all right, this is like we have like we have a sense of like where you guys are at. Whereas like when we first saw them in Guardians 2, like they were like, hey, we're just chilling on a planet. It's like, oh, so you guys are just local? Like, no, that's not true at all. They're far away. But,
they're just summering.
Yeah, no.
Shit, you guys aren't local? Damn. All right.
But yeah, no. This episode of the finale were the strongest for me. I would say those are my best episodes.
Really?
I liked the conversation between Uatu and the emissary a lot, and like their whole deal with like actually seeing something, experiencing something versus just watching it passively. And like, you know, what it means to be alive. And also like Ultron's revelation that like, you know, peace and quiet aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you know, like in order for peace to happen, you need people. You need like flawed people to exist.
Yes.
In order for peace to be achieved.
Infinity Ultron, he really did some soul searching in this, and I liked it. I thought it was great. These two episodes were good for me. I know we're not ranking yet, but they're both going to go as great episodes for me. They're not my best, but they are. I thought they were both great episodes. I love the three women getting the Watcher powers and becoming like a Watcher Fantastic Four. I just, I like this. I like this as a like, what's the point of what if? It's like, you know, for the Watcher to, you know, kind of find himself and come to grips with the fact that he's ceased to be the Watcher and he's now the doer. He's the doer of things.
He's now the getter done.
That's right. He's the Larry the Cable Guy of the MCU, and it's time that he accepts that.
It's time that he accepts that it's time to get her done. It's the time of watching is over. Getting her done is now. Getting her done is the future.
I couldn't agree more. Get her done is hot. Get her done is sexy. Get her done is Brat Summer. Get her done is I'm trying to go virus on TikTok. I think these episodes were great. I'm now ready for Brett to tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh man, I'm sorry. These episodes were some of my least favorites after the Riri Williams episode.
I think it's more interesting when we disagree. When we're all in lockstep, it's like kind of, all right, well, what was the point of this? So tell me why.
So I want to start with the stuff that I liked. I think Infinity Ultron, this version of Infinity Ultron is very interesting. Whitney and I were joking that he's just the Lich from Adventure Time, Disney Lands, or Fiona and Cake, and he's just sort of realized that after I've destroyed everything, there's nothing to do. It's really
it's kind of boring. Once you've destroyed reality and you have nothing, like it kind of sucks. It's lonely after that.
MT kind of hit the fact that like a lot of the exposition and just like the pacing of the episode is really forced and just kind of janky. You have to accept that like they're kind of rushing this ending to do this ending. If we consider the finale too, I didn't love it. It just kind of felt like it was mindless action. It just felt really clunky to me. And to me, what if shouldn't be about this like larger narrative. The first season, it was really cool to see, all of these what if universes coming together to fight Infinity Ultron. That's fun. And then I think season 2 and season 3, they tried to replicate that and it just didn't work. I think a lot of people really, really dislike Agent Carter. I am not saying I dislike Agent Carter, but I can definitely feel how she feels kind of like forced into this storyline. And I think, yeah, I do hate women. I do think if she was straight up Steve, people wouldn't have that complaint. But she's a woman, so we gotta hate it. But
actually, I used to buy Coke from Straight Up Steve. He lived on the block from me. He was a good guy. Straight up, he had a real bad gambling problem, but
Yeah, I'm never letting straight up Steve make my drinks again. I wanted ice cubes.
I like it. I like it. Sorry, didn't mean to die.
No, it's okay. Yeah, the episode just didn't work with me. I think I would have preferred if they used a lot of this runtime to do more what ifs. Ultimately, what if as a whole kind of suffers from the fact that like a lot of people wanted a lot of different things from this series and they spent a lot of time just telling a narrative that they didn't need to tell. I would have preferred if it was just a straight up anthology. A lot of people online are talking about like the images shown at the very, very end in the credits, the Samurai Ghost Rider, Wolverine Thanos. Right. Those are ideas that people want to see and actually found interesting. I don't necessarily think all of them would have been an interesting story. Some of them are just like, what if Thanos was Wolverine? Okay, what's the story to tell there?
What if?
What if though?
What if? So what are you saying? Are these bad episodes to you? Or are they just okay?
Oh, these are bad episodes for me.
Bad episodes. Wow.
I think they're indicative of the failings of the series as a whole.
Whitney, what do you think?
That's a strong take. I agree on the penultimate episode, but I liked the finale a lot. I thought that the second to last episode, it was just a little lazy to me. It felt like they could have given us a lot more, but I really enjoyed the ending of the series. I thought it was a pretty good series finale. I really did like the action a lot. As soon as they all got their like watcher powers, it was like, oh, fuck yeah, baby, let's fucking go. Let's see what these fuckers can do. Hell yeah. And I did really like the fact that Uatu got to teach his mentor. Like he got to be like, hey man, yeah, like I learned so much from you. And that's why I was able to make these decisions. And that's why I was able to save the multiverse. I like that Uatu wasn't just bitter towards his old mentor. I like that he wasn't just like, hey, fuck you, we disagree now, I'm going to kill you. I like that he used it as a teaching and learning opportunity. I really liked it. I thought that it was fun. I thought it was a cool way to end it with the quote, with the titular what if. It made me sad. It made me sad that Peggy Carter died. I felt feelings. I thought that it was, I did really come to care about her character by the end of it. And I was sad that she flew off into the oblivion and got blasted to heck.
I have this weird feeling, and like I could be completely wrong here, and like this would not be comic book accurate at all, but like it feels like, especially with like the way that she looked right before she did the final sacrifice, like the implication is that she has become Captain Universe of the MCU.
Oh.
And so like occasionally she will like, you know Captain Universe, right?
Yeah.
Like the entity. They'll like randomly possess a random person in the universe to like give them this, like the ultimate cosmic power to like save them. Like it's just like a random like lottery. And so, like, I think the implication with, like, Uatu saying, like, oh, for the first time, I feel like someone's watching over me. It's like, oh, Captain Universe is out there sort of, like, helping people randomly because, like, that's what the entity Captain Universe does. It would be drastically different to the science of Captain Universe in the comics, but, like, it seems like that may have been the implication there.
No, that's really cool.
She's essentially the Dark Doctor Strange, but of the multiverse.
But also, I think another implication of this episode, or the finale, is that like I think that this new Doctor Strange universe might actually be, I don't know, like the actual comic book 616 universe, because like the way that they end it, like the actual Eminence himself looks a lot like the Uatu from the comics, and like they end it like with the both of them sitting on the moon, which is where like the Watcher usually sits in the comic books, like just watching Earth. I think like the implication might be that like this is all just like a prequel to the comic book universe that Doctor Strange made. I don't know. Like that's a wild theory. But like, or like some new universe that like we'll go to post Secret Wars. Who knows? The tagline of the season is the end of the beginning, and I feel like that is super intentional towards what Kevin Feige might be planning for his Secret Wars narrative and post Secret Wars narrative, in like what happens after Secret Wars, rather. Because like, you know, there has to be a new universe, there has to be a new Marvel universe, and it seems like this Doctor Strange one is off to the side. So like maybe like this is like a Sanctuary universe. Who knows? Anyway, that's my two random ideas.
Brett put it as bad. I put it as great. Where do you two fall?
Let's do the first half. Where's the first half? I think the first half is worse than the second half.
Yeah, I would say the first, like episode 7 is like okay or good, but like the finale, I would say is great. I think it's a great finale.
Okay, so we have 2 great votes for the finale.
I'm going to vote part 1 as okay and part 2 as good.
So I think it moves down to good. Do we think the Red Guardian episode is better than the finale?
No.
No.
Better than finale.
I mean, I really liked it,
No.
though. I do just love David Harper.
And you guys think the first half of the finale is better than the Mech Avengers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have our list.
We did
Ooh.
it.
You guys at home can also use the link in the description and you guys can do your own tier lists and we can see how the community rates these
Yeah.
episodes.
Ooh, hell yeah, I totally want to do that. Yes, please, pals, go click the link in the description. Let us know what your ranking is. Because yeah, I'm very excited to see like what like the final consensus of the Palaxy from all of us is. That'll be cool.
All in all, I did like What If as a series. I'm going to miss it. But like, you know, I kind of wish it ended stronger, but I'm just glad that it happened in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Same exact
and I'm
thing.
glad to be able to talk about season 3 with all of you, my beautiful pals.
Yes.
And I love you guys so much.
I love you too.
And-
We love
Happy New
Yes,
Year,
thank you guys.
pals.
Happy New
Yes,
Year,
Happy New
pals.
Year,
Don't
pals.
forget
Happy
to,
2025.
to love on your pals, check in on your pals. It's especially important to do around the holidays. We love you guys. We hope that you all have a really great new year, and we'll see you motherfuckers in 2025.
Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.